Oh, I love it. Oh my God, I love it. This is so awesome. Ooh, girl, who got the bling? Who got the bling, girl? Ooh, girl, who got the bling? Yes, I would agree. Diamonds and rubies suit me quite well. I'm liking it. Hey, TVs. Oh, yeah. Bobby Ray got some new bling. And we're going to talk about that today. But before we get to that, I got to have a little bit of another discussion with you. Some of you saw my video yesterday, and I was asking for your help. By the way, I want to say thank you. First of all, thank you to all of you who came out to yesterday's video. It really means a lot, and I'm so thankful for your help. During that video, I asked for you to help me by liking my video, supporting it, sharing it with your friends, and showing YouTube that you value Psychic Bob. The reason I had to ask for your help so fervently is that there is an all-out war of censorship against some YouTubers, myself being included in that. I'm going to tell you what's going on. Now, today we're going to talk about these mystic gems, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But the original subject I was going to bring to you today was a continuation about last week's topic, which I'm not allowed to mention. Why, you ask? Well, let me tell you what's going on. Last week, Psychic Bob received official notice from YouTube that a formal complaint had been filed against my channel for inappropriate content. When I went to inquire, I was notified that a certain group of people, I can't say who for legal reasons, decided that my channel is spreading misinformation and is possibly a threat to national security. You think I'm kidding? Ask other YouTubers. They've been through this as well. A formal complaint was filed to have last week's video removed. Because I'm a YouTube partner, the YouTube attorneys had to get involved and look at the scenario. And because of my YouTube partnership agreement, they decided that there was no breach by their standards. So my video was spared. The parties involved decided to go back and ask them that the revenues be removed from that video. Again, YouTube fortunately sided on my side. A further attempt was made to deplatform me, to ask that I just be shut down totally. That was also denied. But the parties, the offending parties who made these motions against me, did get one of their requests met. They asked that a banner be placed on last week's video, which I cannot talk about, that indicates that my theories and beliefs are associated with mental illness. Basically, there is a public attempt to silence me, and if they can't silence me, to defame me. Now, I'm not going to name names who's doing this, but I think we all know who would have enough influence or power to go in and tell a major corporation to deplatform a longtime user. I think you know who we're talking about. But again, I'm not saying any names. So I want to come here and tell you that our Friday subject matter is going to be switching. I can no longer discuss, I have actually been notified that I am not to discuss subject matter associated with last week's video, last Friday's video. I can't even say what the subject matter was. So if you think that we are living in a country where there is no censorship and that the First Amendment is still in force, you're sadly mistaken, because I was threatened with the loss of my channel and all my revenues. And I make my living by YouTube. So this was a very scary threat and a very hostile action on the behalf of the people who instigated against me. That being said, we're going to switch up our Friday and do different subjects. So I thought this week we'd talk about something hopefully that is harmless and will not get me in trouble with the powers that be. Stay here, we'll be with that in just a second. Well, it's true. I am very excited about my new bling. Today's subject matter comes out of the mystical land of India. You're going to say, what is that, Bob? What is that bracelet? This is my new bracelet, and the name of it is a Navaratna bracelet. You say, Navaratna, what's that mean? Nava is the Hindi word for 9, and Ratna means gems. So it is the bracelet of 9 gems. These are the gems that are associated with the zodiac. And you guys know I love astrology. What you may not know is there are 2 branches of astrology. There is the Vedic branch, which comes out of India, and then there's the Western branch, which is just called astrology. I don't know what we call it. Anyways, I just call it astrology, Western astrology. I'm actually a student of the Western branch, but I have done a little bit of reading on Vedic astrology, and there are a lot of similarities and overlaps. Now, what is really fascinating is that in India, it is believed that every planet in your chart, when you cast your birth chart, you know how you have the planets line. Every planet is aligned to a specific gemstone. So there are gems for all the planets. Now, in the Vedic system, they count 7 planets and then 2 transits as planets. And this bracelet has the gems of the zodiac. Now, let me show you what the gems are, and then I'll explain more about how they work. I've got a chart here I want to show you. The 9 gems, and I'll take my bracelet off in a minute. You can look closer at it. But here are the 9 gems that are in every Navaratna bracelet. Okay? The first gem is emerald, okay? Emerald is associated with the planet of Mercury. That's right. The next one we have is the diamond, which is associated with the planet of Venus. Now, you know what's really fascinating is in the Western world, we usually have, like when people get engaged, they give a wedding ring or engagement ring, and it's usually a diamond. And where do they put that diamond? They put it on the left ring finger. Do you know that in mystical thought that the left finger is believed to connect to the heart chakra? So it's like when you marry somebody, you put a diamond on their finger and it sends energy to the heart. Interestingly, in the Vedic system, the diamond is associated with the planet of Venus, which is the planet of love. Our next gemstone is the pearl, and that's associated with the moon. And then we've got the yellow sapphire, which is associated with the planet of Jupiter. The ruby represents the sun. Mars is represented through coral. And then we've got the transit of Ketu, which is associated with the cat's eye. The blue sapphire is associated with the planet Saturn. And the Gomed stone is associated with the transit of Rahu. Gomed is actually a garnet. Now, in the Indian tradition, this is usually like a browner garnet, like an amber, like a brownish orange garnet. It can also be a redder garnet. The bracelet I have actually has a red garnet in it, which I'll show you again in a minute. These are the 9 gems of the zodiac. You know, one of the reasons I am so excited to have this bracelet is I have wanted one of these for a long time. You really can't find them in the United States. At least I haven't been able to find them. But I ordered this one from a jeweler's in India. And it wasn't that expensive. But what's really amazing is that every single gem in this bracelet is a real gemstone. These are not crystals or plastic. They are real cut gemstones. So let me show you going down the bracelet what we've got. At the end here, we've got the pearl. Right there's the pearl. That's the moonstone for the moon. Then we have a coral, which represents Mars. And then we have the garnet here, which is also the Gomed stone. They call it Gomed in the Hindi language, but it's a garnet, which is for the North Node, which is a transit of the moon, which I'll explain later. Then we've got the blue sapphire, which is for Saturn. We've got the ruby for the sun. And the ruby in Navaratna bracelets is always the center stone, I found out, because it's believed that like the whole cosmos revolves around the sun, so the sun's the center of the bracelet. Then we've got a zircon here, which represents diamond. Some bracelets, the really high-end ones, have a diamond. I have a zircon in mine because I couldn't afford a diamond. But it does the same thing. And then we've got the cat's eye here, which is hard to see here, but it's got a cool banded effect, cat's eye, which is for the south node of the zodiac chart. Then we've got a yellow sapphire. This is a real yellow sapphire for Jupiter. And then we've got the emerald for Mercury. So I have all real gemstones in this bracelet, and I love it. Now, you're going to say, well, Bob, what does that do? How does that work? Good questions. Well, let me tell you, it's believed that when a zodiac chart is cast, that some people have planets in less than ideal situations. Like you'll look at a chart, and let's say Mars is not favorably aspected. Let's say you have Mars in a lot of positions where it would indicate that you're going to have a lot of hostility in your life, people directing hostility, and that Mars means that you may have a lot of upset, a lot of disquiet. Well, it's believed in the Vedic astrology that if you wear the gemstone of this, in this case it's coral for Mars, that this stone helps mitigate some of that negative effect. It's believed that the planets emit rays of energy that affect our lives. And when we're born, as we enter the earth, the alignment of those planets stay with us throughout our lives. And so when you wear the gemstone that is associated with the planets in your chart, it brings a favorable aspect. Now, if you have, like, for example, these in a favorable aspect, then it's not going to hurt you. It will only enhance it. But mostly the Navaratna is used to help balance out the negative aspects. And so a lot of astrologers recommend that you wear this. It's called an astrological bracelet, or sometimes they call it an astrological bangle. Either way, but it's basically the 9 mystical stones of the zodiac. And I love that. Being into astrology, I have a real belief in the power of the zodiac. In the West, we don't really hear about working with gemstones. Now, we do have our birthstones. Like, for example, I'm an Aquarius, and so my birthstone is the garnet, which, interestingly, is in my bracelet. Here, in fact, here's my garnet stone, okay? Can you see that? It's got a pretty red color. It's a little darker than the ruby. Here's the ruby, which is a little brighter red. Garnet's a little darker. But we have our lucky birthstones, and it's believed in the Western astrology that to wear your birthstone brings good luck. But it's a little different than the Vedic one, because the Vedic one directly ties to the planets in your chart. So if you've had an astrologer cast your chart, and you're saying, oh my God, I've got Saturn in such a bad position. Saturn's always going to be a struggle. It keeps showing up in an unfavorable light in my chart. Well, what would an Indian astrologer have you do? A Vedic astrologer? They'd say, wear blue sapphire. And so, as you can see in this bracelet, we've got blue sapphire. So, if you are into astrology, if you like to harness the power of the planets, and every Monday when I do horoscopes, I always say, I say, let's find a way to let the stars bless us. I always say, don't give in to despair. Let the stars be your allies on the journey. Well, I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking, I love to say that, but how can people really more practically have the stars be their allies? Well, I think I found the answer. The answer is in the Navaratna bracelet. So if you get a Navaratna bracelet, you are truly drawing in the magnetic energy of the planets in a positive light, because the gemstones align the rays of the planets in a favorable aspect. I was reading in fact, let's see if I got, here it is. This is a book by Paramahansa Yogananda. It's autobiography of a yogi. And he talks in here about the astrological bangle. And hold on, let me just see here. I have to find it here. But basically, it talks about how, how the astrology works. It's interesting. Yogananda, who was a great mystic, in his younger days did not believe in astrology until his guru, his teacher, Sri Yukteswar, taught him how to harness the power of astrology. And here it is. It's in a, he has a whole chapter called Outwitting the Stars. All right, hold on. Let me get over here because I think you should hear a little bit of this. All right, hold on a second, guys. I'm saying I forgot to mark the page today, so I'm a little behind here. But that's all right. Here it is, Outwitting the Stars. And I'm going to read a little bit. It says, Mukunda was Yogananda's name before he was initiated as a Swami. His younger name was Mukunda. And this is his guru speaking to him. Mukunda, why don't you get an astrological bangle? Should I, master? I don't believe in astrology. It is not a question of belief. The scientific attitude one should take on any subject is whether it is true. The law of gravitation worked as efficiently before Newton as after him. The cosmos would be fairly chaotic if its laws could not operate without the sanction of human belief. I love that. Charlatans have brought the ancient stellar science to its present disrepute. Astrology is too vast, both mathematically and philosophically, to be rightly grasped, except by men of profound understanding. If ignoramuses misread the heavens and see there's a scrawl instead of a script, that is to be expected in this imperfect world. One should not dismiss the wisdom of the wise. All parts of creation are linked together and interchange their influences. The rhythm of the universe is rooted in reciprocity, my guru continued. Man in his human aspect has to combat two sets of forces. First, the tumults within his being, caused by the admixture of earth, water, fire, air, and ethereal elements. That's the 5 elements, like we have in Wicca. Second, the outer disintegrating powers of nature. So long as man struggles with his mortality, he is affected by the myriad mutations of heaven and earth. Astrology is the study of man's response to planetary stimuli. The stars have no conscious benevolence or animosity. They merely send forth positive and negative radiations. Of themselves, these do not help or harm humanity, but offer a lawful channel for the outward operation of cause-effect equilibriums that each man has set into motion in the past. A child is born on that day, and at that hour when the celestial rays are in mathematical harmony with his individual karma. His horoscope is a challenging portrait revealing his unalterable past and its probable future results. But the natal chart can be rightly interpreted only by men of intuitive wisdom. Of these, there are few. So anyways, I'm going to stop there, but basically what he's saying is that we're all influenced to some degree. Now, this is why he was recommending that Yogananda wear an astrological bracelet. Because, you know, if it's true, which it seems to be, and I believe it, then we can benefit by this. So, as I say every week, if you want to explore how to make the stars your allies, then get an astrological bangle. And you will certainly be working with the energy of the cosmos. That's what I think. Now, I want to talk briefly here also on the 2 transits, because this is kind of novel. The south node of the zodiac is, let me explain, this is kind of complex, but the sun and the moon, okay, appear to revolve around the earth, even though technically we go around the sun. In astrology, they say the sun and the moon go around the earth. At a certain point, the sun and the moon's alignments cross. They touch in terms of the elliptical orbits. They don't act, the planets don't touch, but the lines touch. Where that touches is called the north node and the south node. The north node is when the moon is ascending. It's going to its highest place of exaltation and power. That's a very favorable aspect. And when the moon is at its north node in your chart, this indicates the energies that you're bringing in, the positive aspects, the ambitions, the goals, what your chart's going to be driven by. When the moon is in its declination, when it's going towards the south and it's declining, this represents the powers of the past, what you're bringing, your karma that you bring into this life that you have to overcome. So the cat's eye stone is for the south node, and this helps balance out any negative karma. You know, we've all had past lives where we've been less than saintly. And if we come into that life, a more recent life with that, we could be negatively affected. It's believed that this gemstone, the cat's eye, balances out that karma. Likewise, if we want to increase our positive aspects, we can draw up the power of the north node, which is our, what we bring in. It's our goals, our energy, our ambitions. And garnet, or gomed as they call it, is that stone. Now, on some of the bracelets, you'll see, let me see, where's my garnet? There it is. Right below the coral. There's the garnet right there next to my finger. This gemstone, as I said, brings in our talents, our goals, and gives us extra power to face life. Now, as an Aquarius, I have to say, I think I get a double blessing because the garnet's already my birthstone. So in the Western astrology, it brings me protection and luck. And in the Eastern astrology, it pushes forward my soul growth and ambition. So I think I'm pretty lucky to have the garnet. But see, these stones help balance out your energies. And I think there's a lot of truth to it. I think the seers, the sages of ancient India really have been at all of this a lot longer than those of us in the West. And so I think we all need to be a little humble and say, well, maybe we don't know it all. Maybe we should consider it. That's what I'm doing. I'm considering it, and I'm finding it to be pretty accurate from what I've been studying. So anyways, I had to come and show you my astrological bangle today. I'm really quite excited about it. And I just want to ask you guys, have you ever seen an astrological bangle? I'm talking about the Vedic astrology version. Maybe you have one. Tell me about your bracelet below. I'd love to hear it. Maybe this is new to you. Tell me that as well. I'm curious how many other people are just learning about this. Now, as I said, I had read about this and heard about it, and I had read this book probably 20-some years ago, and I remember reading about this, and other people said, oh, you should get years ago, somebody actually told me, get an astrological bangle, and I didn't know what the Hindu name was, the Hindi name. So nobody in the United States carried them, and jewelers here don't even carry them. But I tell you, if I were an American jeweler, I'd start making these because I think they would be very popular in the United States. And maybe some of you out there are jewelry makers watching this. You should really explore Navaratna bracelets because I think there's a lot of power in them. I love this. I mean, I got all of these beautiful hand-cut jewels, and it was less than $50. And I don't remember the exact price. I'll have to find it. But it wasn't expensive, really, for the quality. And the bracelet is done, I think it's actually made of pewter, but it's not, I don't think it's sterling now. I think it's actually made of pewter. It's overlaid in gold, but it's very nicely done. And you can see the beautiful jeweler's work on it. It's all handmade. They hand set the stones. And for those of you who do jewelry, if you look at it, it's kind of hard to show here on camera, but you'll be able to tell that it is all hand set. So I'm very excited about this, and I encourage you to explore it. So, anyways, tell me in the box below, are you familiar with the Vedic astrology bangles, the Navaratna? Anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Well, guys, thank you for being here. Thanks for putting up with my rant. I had to get that off my chest, let you know what's going on. Please, I need your support, so please continue to help me. Like this video, favorite it, share with your friends, and hit subscribe. I'd love you to be here. Well, guys, listen, keep it here. We got more coming. Tomorrow is Saturday. And you know what Saturday is? It's our Saturday seance and spiritualist class. So make sure to be here. You guys are best. I love you. Well, listen, keep it here. We'll see you back here tomorrow. By the way, if you get a chance, pop over to my website, www.psychicbob.com. I'll have that link below. And if you want to get on my schedule for a private reading, I have some openings still for next week. Give me a call, 703-825-3929. That's my phone number. In fact, put that in your cell phone. Even if you don't want to buy a reading today, just put it in. So it's Psychic Bob, put my number in, 703-825-3929. And if you call, we'll get you on the schedule. You can also write to me at my email, readings@robert-hickman.com. Again, that link will also be in the info box below. You guys are best. I look forward to hearing from you. We'll be back here tomorrow for our spiritualist class and seance. And until then, may you all always blessed be. I'm going to go put on my Navaratna and be all styling. Go out on the town with my jewels. We'll see you tomorrow. Blessed be.